全部脱いじゃってるからさ、ねえねえって聞けないんだよね。
You're gonna be a novelty. People might look at you while you're there. You wouldn't do that.
それ普通はやってはいけないことか。はい。
Hey, you're gonna have to take a bath with my dad.
そこだよね。
Welcome to the Lost in Japanglish channel, delivered to you in a bilingual format in English and Japanese.
ロスジャパチャンネルへようこそ。日本語と英語のバイリンガル形式でお送りしています。
I'm Chieko.
そしてやっこです。
And today we are talking about baths, showers, ofuro in Japan and the United States.
そうです。今日はお風呂です。やっこはシャワー派なんでね。シャワーも話しましょう。
So ofuro is one of my most favorite things in the whole wide world.
おIt's whole wide world 出ました。
で、最近アメリカでも、the Japanese style tubs, there's definitely a trend for that.
I'm so used to taking showers. Like, it's something that is in the everyday life, but still, なんかちょっとこう、そっか、そんなに日本のお風呂文化流行るのかって感じがしてびっくりしてますね。
I love Nihon no ofuro compared to American tubs. The typical tub that you'll see in a standard suburban home that is like the long, shallow tub where you lay down, but there's not quite enough room to lay down, so you're kind of scrunched up in there and you're trying to stay under the water. It's a lot of work.
そうそうそう。浅いんだよね。とにかくアメリカの。
So therefore, すぐ冷めちゃうんだよね。
そういうことか。あと、リヒートのファンクションがないよね。
Traditionally, no. There's usually not a keep it hot feature. Nowadays, there's more fancy tubs, of course, where they have jets and they have heating systems. But a standard home is just going to have your plain old tub. It's got a huge surface area, cools off very quickly. So if you want to take a longer tub, you have to add hot water.
そうなのよ。そこが結構大変だなって日本人からすると思う。So we 100% have that reheating function in the tub. So, and to have to add hot water to keep it warm, that's like, oh no って感じだよね。
Well, I think one of the biggest differences is in Japan, you fill the tub and multiple people will use the same water. That typically is not how we bathe here. So if two people want to take a bath, it's you fill the tub, you drain it, and you refill it for the next person. We're not a big bath culture, so not everybody takes a bath every night, which is more traditional, I think, in the Japanese culture. But I think, therefore, you have to have a heating feature if it needs to last 4 hours and get 4 people through the bathtub.
Yes, you are right. We don't change the hot water. So that means it has to be clean. What I see for American tubs is like, there's like bubble bath があって、こうふわふわとかなってたりするのをよく見るんだけど、if you do too much of that, the last person is going to have really bad water to soak in. So we try to keep it clean. So we have to wash our body first before we go in.
And the purpose of the ofuro in Japan is not cleanliness. Like, you don't clean yourself in the tub, right? You clean yourself outside the tub, and the purpose of the tub is relaxation. So I like to compare it more to like a hot tubbing experience here, where you don't get in the hot tub, like a jacuzzi style hot tub to get clean. You get in there to relax.
ほんとそうだね。そうやって考えると、スパみたいな、ジャグジーみたいな文化が、どっちかっていうと近いかもしれないね。その日本のお風呂文化には。リラックスするために湯船に浸かるっていうのは確かにあって、これよく母親にもヤンにも言われるんだけど、夜入りなよ、お風呂に。疲れが取れるからとか、よく眠れるから入りなよ。いや、もうそんな忙しくてできないみたいな感じでよくやっていて、どっちかっていうとシャワーになっちゃうんだけど。Yeah, I think Japanese do get in the tub to relax. And that is a big feature in the Japanese ofuro culture.
Yes. And I think there is science that supports it does improve the quality of your sleep.
筋肉痛とかも when you have muscle pain, it's better to get in the tub at night in warm water. to recover from it sooner とか
Mhm.
あるし、better sleep もあるし、I think it kind of improves your entire body functions.
Well, and here's another thing that I've noticed living
Mhm.
here in Seattle and when I go to even Hawaii or Japan is because of the humidity.
Mhm.
You just feel a little sweatier. And やっぱり寝る前に I want to take a shower or take a bath or something. Where here in Seattle, I don't necessarily feel that way. Like it's so dry here and I don't feel like I need to take a shower before I get into bed. I don't feel dirty.
That's so true. シアトルカラッとしてるからね。
うん
で、ハワイはどっちかっていうと日本のジメッとした感じに近いところがあるから、だからどうしても夜、入ってから寝た方がすっきりするっていうのは
Mhm.
あるかもしれないけどね。
So here in Seattle, I typically take a bath once every week or every couple weeks. Here's the thing is regardless of whether I take a bath the night before, I have to shower in the morning. 'Cause なんか目が覚めないっていうか。
そうなのよ。そうなの。日本に住んでいながら、あんまり日本的な、このサイクルにはなってなくて、for me as well, I think I take a bath once every week or once every 2 weeks. And every morning I take a shower っていう感じ。なかなかね、日本のそのルーティンにハマっていけないところがもう未だにあるんだよ。
But when I've had a hot tub or when I've had access to a hot tub, it's almost every night that I would go sit in the hot tub.
やっぱり日本のおばあちゃんのティッシュ
Yes.
なるべくね。
Yes. Because it's so relaxing to go to sleep after you've taken, after you've warmed your body and your muscles have been forced to relax. 日本のお風呂って結構暑いじゃない？
暑い。
It's not a lukewarm situation. It's usually a very, very hot bath and it just melts your muscles and forces you to relax and it becomes a lovely sleep. So, それは I try to do that.
Yeah. For the お風呂s, even for onsen and 銭湯s, the water is very hot. It's, 摂氏だと40から42度。And Fahrenheit ちょっと100より超えてる感じ。
Yes.
104, 10 or something?
103. It's probably not 110 because one might die in that.
Okay. Sorry.
But I would say 102, 103, 104, 105 maybe.
Okay. Yes.
It can get very, very hot. Hot tubs here tend to be around 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
やっぱそうだよね。アメリカでジャグジーに入るとぬるって感じ。そこがちょっとね、ジャグジーと日本のお風呂の違いはあるかもしれないね。
Yes.
Yeah,
Here
yeah.
we tend to use the jets in the jacuzzis or hot tubs to pound the muscles and whatnot and to help the relaxation more than the intense heat of the water.
We do see that at スーパー銭湯 or 温泉 when we have the 大浴場 which is big public baths. There are tiny ones in that area where you can have the bubbles and the jet water coming out and stuff like that. そういうところではね、見るけど。
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the public bath part because there's many formats of public baths in Japan and it's not a customary thing here in the United States. So I get a lot of questions about that and people get stressed about that before going to Japan.
Oh, really? それはかわいそうだね。そんなストレスフルになっちゃったら。Yes, that is true. We have very many types of public baths. And we have the sentos and the onsens. Sento is like the local public baths for people who don't have baths at home. Those people will go to those sentos every day. Onsen is the hot springs. In modern days, it's more luxurious. People go there to relax and have fun and have a vacation. So those are very different, but the system is pretty similar.
Yeah, and public baths are really common, I think, in Japan.
Yeah.
Before I took John to Japan for the very first time, I told him, I was like, hey, you're going to have to take a bath with my dad.
そこだよね。
And he was like, what? ここでは絶対ないよね。
That is so true. Like all the なんて言うんだろう physical stuff and you can look it up, people will tell you about it, but the part about the communication and the interaction with family members is
は
like
い。
それ結構びっくりするよ。ハードル高いなって思う。
Yeah, so I think he initially panicked, but I talked him through it, what to expect, how to do the things, and to prep him. And he loves 日本の銭湯とお風呂と温泉と he loves it all.
Oh, really? So, what did you prep him, and how does he feel now after he has experienced it?
To prep him, I was explained how to use I don't know what they're called. It's like the part where you clean yourself, right? Where the buckets though, the stool and the mirror and the shampoos and what do you bring in?
はい。
You only bring in the little towel. You leave
そうね。
your bath towel in the locker room, and you don't want to put your little towel in the hot water at the inside the tub. Just those basic etiquette pieces
あ、すごい。
around what to expect, what to do. And certainly no clothing is allowed inside once you get to the inside part. それにスリッパの that was the other thing I feel like was going to be challenging for him is all the slippers and you have to put your shoes here, put on the slippers here, and this is what you do with your
そうだね。
slippers.
確かに。自然とやってるもんね、日本人は。でも、しかもさ、ちーちゃんとしては、行って、その場で教えてあげられない？
Right.
Because it's
So I'm showing
segregated.
him pictures and trying to find images online. Because it's hard to explain the part where you wash yourself.
Right. That's called 洗い場.
うん。
洗う is washing, so it's
Mhm.
basically washing place. Is
Yeah.
a little, we call it the 洗い場 and the 風呂場, which is the tub.
はい。Yes.
And we have the basket where you put your clothes and everything, but don't put your valuables in there because it's not a locked
はい。
area. So
はい。
there's a special place for that where there are keys. You can put things in there. だけど、ね、それを全部やってからタオル1枚だけ持って入るとか。It's so 細かい。So he would have to remember all of that, right? Before
Yes.
he goes in. Oh,
Yes.
that's
And
daunting.
because he's white, I did explain to him, we are going to parts of Japan where they're not used to a lot of foreigners. This isn't like Tokyo とかじゃなくて. So I was explaining to him, like, you're going to be a novelty. People might look at you while you're there. そういうのをやっぱり trying to mentally prepare him.
なるほどね。メンタルプレップがね、結構大事かもしれないね、そこは。
Because nudity here in the United States is kind of a big deal. A lot of people are very uncomfortable with any kind of nudity, outside of their own private space. And the public bath, while it's not the public, right? You're not outside walking around naked. It feels like public nudity for a lot of people, and they can get very, very uncomfortable.
Right. Because I think because we swam when we were little, and because we know of the Japanese culture, we're okay. Even for me, it was a little bit ちょっと勇気を出して行かなきゃいけないところはあったよね。Because it is fully nude. I mean, and you only have one towel.
One little towel.
Okay, so basically you have a towel like this, right? And you have to hold it like this to cover your front area. Yeah. And some people don't even do that. They're like walking like this. Like fully naked. But it took a long time for me to do that. I had to have this towel in front of me the whole time. But you can't put it in the tub. So ね、だから入ってもうここに置いといてみたいなところをやったりして、やんなきゃいけなかったりとか、勇気がいると思うんだよね、これ。慣れるまでに。だから外国の方来たら心の準備をしないと。
はい。
大変。
The feedback that I get from my friends who are more nervous about public baths, even going to a local Korean spa here where it's very similar, some people are very scared about going. And, I'll invite them along and we'll go. And they're like, it's not as scary as I thought it was going to be.
そういう感覚はあるんだ。体験
Just
した。
because they see everybody else just being naked and comfortable with their bodies. And they're like, wow, there's all sorts of different body types and figures. And I don't need to feel self conscious about my body.
それはあるよね。そこ乗り越えるよね。If you're self-conscious about your body, そこ行くといいかもしれない。Because you won't be そうなんなくなってくるから。
はい。
だけど、それは嬉しいね。そういうアジアンパブリックバス体験をして、意外と大丈夫だったかも、みたいな感想になったんであれば。ジョンはどういう感想だった？
He doesn't have any problems with his nudity, so he was fine.
ああ、よかったよかった。結構ね、日本に来て体験して、すごく田舎で体験すると、かなりコアな体験をしてると思うから、いいと思ってくれるのはなんか嬉しい。日本人がアメリカに行って、お風呂体験の違い、お風呂とかシャワーを含めての体験の違いで、ヤコは思うのはね、シャワーカーテンがあるっていうのは日本でもあるし、ビジネスホテル行けばカーテンがついてたし、ね、ヤコもアメリカで生活してたことあるからカーテンの存在は知ってんだけど、たまにあれどうしていいかわかんないとか、なんか2枚になってるけど、これ何っていう時があるんだよね。だけど、もう、だいたい入っちゃって、全部脱いじゃってるからさ、ねえねえって聞けないんだよね。だからいつもしまったって今日ぜひ聞きたいと思ってたのそこだね。
So why you see two shower curtains in American homes is there's a liner, which is usually the plastic liner, and that goes inside the tub. The bottom part goes inside the tub, and you want to make sure it's, sometimes they have magnets on it so it stays in place, but that's the one that's going to prevent the water from going out of the bath area, the bathing area. The outside curtain that you leave out on the outside, because sometimes it might be made out of cotton or various fabrics, that's purely decorative. So when the shower curtain is closed, it creates a nice uniform drape of some, whatever print or fabric that you might have. And it also provides more privacy if the lining is clear or frosty. And if someone is like brushing their teeth while you're taking a shower, it's more private.
なるほど。そういう意味だったんだ。シャワーカーテンを湯船の中に入れるっていうのは知ってたのね、ヤッコ。だから、両方入れるべきだろうか。いや、でもなんか、それはいらないよなとか思ってて。で、外の2枚カーテンだとすると、中のやつ、内側のやつは湯船の中に入れて、外はお飾りなのね。だから外に出して、ちょっと見えなくするとかね。確かにそれ大事かも。日本とアメリカのお風呂場の違いは、日本はお風呂と洗い場しかない感じ。湯船と洗い場しかなくて、そこで閉められるけど、アメリカの場合は、だいたいトイレがついてて、シンクがついててみたいな感じで、かなり広い空間だからね。シャワー浴びてる時に、トイレに来る人っている？
I can't imagine, but let's say you have 5 little kids, then maybe that does happen. Right? While one of your kids is showering and their brother might pee in the toilet. I don't know. I don't have a family like that. Typically, if someone is taking a shower and they're using if they're using the bathroom, then if it's like your husband or spouse, maybe they might go in there and brush their teeth while you're showering. But やっぱりトイレを使うっていうのは that feels a little bit more maybe not so kosher.
やっぱそうか、なるほどね。じゃあ自分がシャワー入ってるときは、そこのトイレも洗面所もあまり使えない状況になるってことだね。
Yeah. So if you're staying at someone's home, obviously you would close and probably lock the door when you take a shower. But if you just have to be aware that you are locking them out of their getting ready area, you're locking them out of the toilet area, especially if that's their only bathroom.
そうね。本当トイレ入りたいのにまずいってなったらね。それ1個しかないってことは、トイレが1個しかないってことはなかなかないかもしれないけど、日本人みたいに、長いシャワーとか長いお風呂に入ったら、ちょっとまずいかもしれないね。感覚的には。
Yes. So you want to be aware that you're utilizing a full bathroom, not just the お風呂。
そういうところは、意外と細かく考えると、 抜け落ちてるところはあるかもしれないね。
So I want to talk about like stuff like this.
Okay, okay.
Because the things that we use, the tools that we use in the bath, I think are different.
Yes.
In the United States, we typically don't do a lot of washing with our own hands. なので、a lot of people like to use a loofah like this. This is really soft, so it doesn't exfoliate exactly. 日本のゴシゴシする感じのタオルとは、it's much softer.
This is the Japanese ゴリゴリするタイプ。
Yes.
Which is very rough on one side and soft on the other. So you do have a choice of which kind of texture you would like. And we do use the soft. これが結構、we see these a lot too. So I normally take these wherever I go outside of Japan because I can never find them and I need them. Because I'm so used to like ゴリゴシゴシゴシみたいな。
はいはい。
Yeah. As Japanese, I think we do use both types and even the hechima types, organic types.
Yes. Yeah, you'll see loofahs like I call them all loofahs, whether it be natural or this plasticky one.
ね、他に何かアメリカのバスで使うものある？
No, typically you'll see your shampoos, conditioners, soap, body soaps. Just like you would in 日本。
そっかそっか。ヤッコがね、アメリカに行って結構思うのが、バスローブ。あれってみんな使う？なんか映画とかではよく見るけど、どうなんだろう？
Yeah, so if you were at the hotel, right? A lot of times a nice hotel will come with these luxurious bathrobes. So after you've taken a shower, you might wear your bathrobe while you're getting ready. Whether it's a regular robe or a bathrobe, I do feel like a lot of Americans really like robes.
だよね。映画で見てて、実際にさ、人がローブを着てるかどうかなんて相当中に入っていかないと見れないじゃない？実際に使ってるか。だからちーちゃん家でだったら見るかもしれないし、これは日本ではないんだよね、あんまり、その文化は。浴衣を羽織るっていうのはあるかもしれないけど、that's very traditional. バスローブはね、結構特徴があるかなと思ったし、あとヤッコがやるのは、その髪の毛洗いました。バスタオルで、こう頭をくるくるっと巻いて、ふにょふにょってくるっと回してちょっと乾かしてるみたいなことを、アメリカでよくやってたから、未だによく日本でやるんだけど。
You've always had short hair.
I know that's the thing. 途中から気がついたんだよね。あれ、長い髪だからみんなやってんだなって、途中で気がついたんだけど。
Typically you do that when you have long hair.
だけどね、便利なのよ。ショートでもさ、濡れてたらここら辺につくじゃない？だから全部こう乾かしてあげられてるっていうのは、これすんごい便利なアイディアだなと思って、日本で出張に行った時にそれをやって、お風呂浴びました。みんな一緒にご飯食べに行きます。旅館の中でね。
はいはい。で、
浴衣着てますみんな。はい。で、行きました。そしたらこんな頭で来るから、何それって言われたことが。あったんだけど。
Yeah, you wouldn't do that.
それ普通はやってはいけないことか。はい。Okay, okay.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the only place that you might have your hair wrapped in a towel like that is usually about 10 minutes after you've gotten out of the shower, where your hair is like in that drippy, wet state. It just helps absorb some of that water. And you wouldn't go out to any kind of a public place with your hair wrapped in a towel.
で、外には出ないということで気をつけましょうとか。
Yeah, and now we have like these guys. They look like this, and they're a towel specifically for wrapping your hair in. And so it doesn't put as much weight on the top of your head.
わかる。
One of the things about American towels is, you know, some people like the really thick, fluffy, big towels. So it's really hard to wrap that and make it on your head. So they have like these towel wraps specifically made for hair.
これね、素晴らしい。コストコでアメリカのバスタオル買いました。すんごいゴワゴワしてます。で、それを使ってくるくるやりました。そうするともうなんかもう頭が
Yeah, it pulls your hair.
It
really does. Like it can, because your hair is in it, right? So as it's like pulling, it can, and your hair when it's wet is much more susceptible to damage. So you want to be very careful.
はい。
I think one last thing I want to touch on is the things we put in our baths, because that's very different. Here, what's really popularized is the bubble bath, and a lot of people enjoy bubble baths. But also, bath salts are very popular to help relax muscles and things like that. And then the bath bombs. So the bath bombs are those little balls that you see, and you pop it in the tub and it goes like fizzes. They have different scents and colors and things like that. So those are typically the things that you'll see people put in their bath, which is different from Nihon no. Can you talk about what Nihonjin put in their baths?
そう。だいぶね、今、ちーちゃんが言ってくれたものって日本にも入ってきてて流行ってるなっていうのはあるんだけど、what we have traditionally is more of the onsen mimicking, which is you have this specific powder that you can put in the bath and it will create like an onsen atmosphere. The smell, the texture, the 体にいいこと。
Like healing natures. Yes.
そうそうそうそう。そういう効果のあるものをお風呂の中に we put those powders in a lot. Yan has this a wall of 温泉に入れる温泉なんて言うんだろうね。バスクリーン is like a product name. So I think it's not the official name, but he has a whole selection.Which I don't use, but he takes the time. この匂いがいいかなとか、このテクスチャーがいいかな。
He makes an experience.
そう。お風呂大好き人間だから、like a typical Japanese, he takes a bath every night, no matter how late it is, no matter how tired he is. He will take a bath because it's not just for relaxation. I think it's like a cleansing ritual for him. My mom also says that too. So
yes. Yeah, I think the bathing experience can be even spiritual in nature. It's certainly cleansing. You know, they say cleanliness is godliness. It's physically healing for your muscles and nice. You can put additives that are great for your skin and your health and you know, your sinuses. I mean, there's so many ways that we can enjoy our baths. And I do think taking the time to put in a little bit of effort for your self-care in that fashion is so lovely.
そうですね。本当に今日ね、話してて思いました。もうちょっとね、自分のためにも、そういう時間を作るっていうのが、とても大事で、ゴルフボールのことじゃないですけど、大事なものとして入れとかないと、いや、そりゃね、もうちょっと時間がないから入ってらんないわとか、ね、なっちゃうから。ちょっと自分をもうちょっと大切にするためにも、夜風呂入る時間を作ってみたいな。でもね、朝入っちゃうのよ。
Well, here's the thing is what's become popular are these shower tabs and it's kind of like a mini bath bomb, but you put it by your feet, by the drain. And when you shower, it emits this lovely smell. Like it can be eucalyptus, it can be different, you know, types of smells. I mean, just to add that to something you're already doing is a nice way to make a regular old shower a fancy shower.
いいね。それちょっと探します。きっといろんなものね、入ってきてるから、それもちゃんと探せばあるかもしれないし、そのシャワーのね、エクスペリエンスが良くなるのは、なんか、ハードルが低くてすぐできる。
Yes, it's low effort, but yes.
それ大事大事。はいはいはい。
I love it. Well, I want to jump to our pop quiz for today's episode.
はい。それではクイズコーナーに参りましょ
う。Okay, so what's been trendy in the United States is the everything shower. What does it mean when we say the everything shower?The
everything shower. 何でもありのシャワーってこと ?literal translation だと。どうだろうシャワーの時間が cleanliness だけじゃなくって遊び場になるとか。わかった。テレビ見たりするとか。ないもん、全然わかんない。どういう意味
So, most of the time we take quick showers just to get clean, right?、 But the everything shower means you are doing all of the things. You are washing your hair, you're deep conditioning, you're exfoliating, you're shaving, you're washing your face, you're doing a face mask, you're doing a hair mask, you're doing all of the things all at once. And that's what we call the everything shower. There might be some pre-shower things that you do, there might be post-shower things that you do, but you're doing all the self-care things all at once. Yep.
あ、
時間がかかる。
そういうこと。なるほどね。フルシャワーっていうかな、日本で言ったら。
Yes.
わかり
It's
や
like
すいの
full
に。
service for yourself.
Yeah, フルサービスのシャワーです。みたいな感じ。
はい。
ほいほい。The everything shower って。それやるべきだね。ちょっとね。せめてシャワーでも、そこまでの everything
Maybe
shower.
once a week you do an everything shower.
オーバーホールじゃないけど、ちょっとね、週に1回でも、ちょっとそれをやってみたらいいなと思いまして、いい表現を教えていただき、ありがとうございました。それでは日本語の方に移ります。今日は、アナロジーでお風呂にまつわるやつですね。ぬるま湯に浸かる。
I have no idea. Can you give me a hint?
Okay. Literal translation はぬるま湯 is the lukewarm water. 浸かる is to soak in it. I'll give you an example. こう海外に出て生活して初めて日本にいて自分がぬるま湯に浸かってたんだなっていうのが分かった。
Okay, based on your example and my understanding of the phrase, that makes me think like, oh, you weren't taking advantage of everything, or you weren't fully appreciating something.
ちーちゃんってポジティブちゃんだよね。逆から言うとそういうことだね。基本的には、it means you realize that you were in the comfort zone for too long and that your lack motivation みたいなのに気づいた。You realize that you were too comfortable. So that's how we would use it and perceive it. But it's the same thing, right? What you said.
Yes. Well, I like that. That's a great phrase. And it's such a great thing to realize because we don't want to be too comfortable, I believe, in our lives. I think it's really important to step out of your comfort zone. I love that phrase. Well, thank you for that. And thank you guys for sticking with us through the pop quiz in our episode about showers, ofuro. If you have questions about the Japanese ofuro experience or the American shower culture, hit us up in the comments and we will do our best to answer your questions. While you're at it, give us a like, give us a follow, help us promote our YouTube channel. Thank you.
はい、そうですね。やっぱお風呂の話ね、結構盛りだくさんになってね、まだまだいっぱい話足りないかもしれないです。なので皆さんもいろいろ質問があったり、いや、これ話すべきでしょっていうのがあったりすると思うので、ぜひぜひコメント欄に入れていただいて、その会話を一緒にできたらなと思いますし、ロスジャパ YouTube チャンネルいいなと思っていただけたらですね、ぜひいいねとチャンネル登録をお願いいたします。それでは今日もご視聴ありがとうございました。また次回の動画で会いましょう。バイバイ。